Thank you. Okay, so I'm hoping a lot of people have had a chance to look at those minutes from our last meeting, and I'm asking if there are any corrections to the minutes from our May 18th meeting. And I'm going to stop my share because I can't see everybody. No hands up. Anybody here? No? Okay, I will mark them as approved then. Thank you very much. Okay. Now we have guests from folks from King County or off island, and I know that John Hill couldn't make it tonight, but Juan is here. Juan, could you introduce yourself to people who might not know who you are?
Alongside the bingo with the Department of Local Service.
Great. So Bong is here in case we have questions for the Department of Local Services from King County. And is there anyone else here that's from off island that would be a guest at our meeting? Okay. Very good. We'll move on. And our first item of business tonight is the discussion of the levy lift. So we have, we've set it up to have 3 to 5 minutes from Jim Bristow and Gary English total, 3 to 5 minutes on the yes side of the levy lift, and 3 to 5 minutes from Scott Harvey on the no for the levy lift. And then we're going to open it up for questions and comments and statements from the community. And we'll limit the statements or the discussion of a particular issue to 2 minutes at the beginning of this effort, so that we have time to get everybody who wants to say something will have some time. Once we go through everyone who wants to speak, if there's still some time left, if someone wants to speak again, then there will be time for that. That's how we'll run this. So the first part will be the discussion, the statement on the yes for the levy lift. So, yes, great.
And microphone is where exactly?
It's right now, it's in the computer.
Okay.
It's like there's actually.
You want to come up? You're going to need to sit. Yeah, because we're going to go back and forth here.
Do we have a timekeeper?
Yeah.
And we can't see ourselves
That's
anywhere.
what I'll do.
Second to the left.
Right. Ah, there we are. Okay.
Yes. And yes,
Okay.
so, and I can zoom in.
Let's pin this one.
Oops.
Here, if you can't hear, raise your hand, you can make sure that these people.
That lets us see.
I'll adjust it.
That
I'll
work?
get you in there.
Okay,
Somebody playing with it. Oh, there. Look at that. She's
excellent.
very good.
Thank you. Man triumphs over technology.
That's for sure. Go ahead.
Great, thank you. First off, I'd like to thank the Community Council for inviting us here tonight. This is a great opportunity. My name is Jim Bristow. I'm a retired pediatric cardiologist, and I'm also the co-director of the Vashon Medical Reserve Corps. I'm joined tonight by Gary English, who's a retired deputy chief of fire, Seattle Fire, with more than 30 years of firefighting and EMT experience. We're here representing the Citizens Committee supporting Proposition 1 on the August 1 ballot. We also have Chief Vinci with us here tonight, and we'll all be available after the meeting tonight if you have additional questions. Gary?
So let's talk about some of the basics. Passing Proposition 1 will continue the recovery of the Vashon Fire Department that started in 2017 after 27 years without a levy lift and inadequate funding. Right now, we need the next step for more first responders and replacing obsolete equipment to save lives and protect properties. There is a flyer on the chairs and it's available on the website, which is the 10 reasons. Let's see if I can figure this out. 10 reasons to vote yes. It's on our website and on the forsafervashon.org. Also, there's information available from the Vashon Fire Department website. Now we're going to provide you some factual information about our fire department and the levy.
Let's start by talking about how VIFR responds to life-threatening emergencies. There's a fiction that's been circulating around Vashon that VIFR should rely on Medic One's 2 paramedics to respond to life-threatening emergencies like heart attacks. And Chief English and I have personally performed CPR hundreds of times, and we're here to tell you that effective CPR looks like this. I'm not sure all of you can see this, but there are 7 people surrounding a body on the floor here, because 7 people is how many people it takes to perform modern effective CPR. The first thing that happens when VIFR responds to a CPR event is a VIFR ambulance is dispatched. And whenever paramedics are dispatched to a cardiac arrest, VIFR sends every available responder. If 2 or more responders happen to be off island transporting a patient to a hospital, that reduces the number of people on this team, and the net result is that fewer lives are saved. Now, getting help from the mainland is possible, but it depends on the ferry, and you all know exactly what that looks like. And when every minute counts, that extra hour that it takes to get mutual aid to Vashon is a very important reason why VIFR needs more EMTs and firefighters.
Passing the levy will staff the Burton Fire Station. This station has been unstaffed for years and is still not staffed. 24/7 staffing the Burton Station is critical to improve response times to South Vashon and Maury Island, and it takes 8 full-time firefighters to do this. Dividing the existing staffing between the Bank Road Station and the Burton Station is a bad idea because it would degrade service to the more densely populated north end of Vashon. Folks everywhere on Vashon pay the same taxes. They should all get the same excellent service. Also, if you live on South Vashon or on Maury Island, the state's Fire Risk Rating Board plans to raise your fire risk rating level this year. This might raise your fire insurance rates substantially. Passing the levy will prevent most of those homeowners from having a fire insurance increase because we have firefighters now within the 5-mile radius. This will saving on fire insurance will more than cover the cost of paying for the levy. Plus, you'll be safer.
If we have a staffing shortage at VIFR, why don't they just find more volunteer firefighters? That was a solution historically. We'd all love to have more volunteer firefighters on Vashon, but the number of Vashon volunteers has been falling for years, and that follows a national trend. And the big reason for that is it takes over 600 hours of training to become a volunteer firefighter EMT. Anybody here in the room have an extra 600 hours to spare this year to become a volunteer?
I'm looking.
See some hands. I know if you're available, Chief Vinci would love to talk to you. And that goes for everybody out in the Zoomosphere as well. The reality of it is that volunteers are simply not a realistic solution to solving VIFR staffing shortages.
So let's talk about our aging fire fleet. Fixing our worn out fire trucks and ambulances simply costs money. Failing to do so will risk lives. Our fire fleet is the oldest in the county, with 2 of these fire engines 23 years old, and where parts are no longer available. Fire agencies in our region and across the country replace their fire engines typically before 20 years of service, because at that age, it starts costing more to continuously repair the vehicles than to replace them. More importantly, reliability. If your vintage car breaks down, you're just stuck. It's an inconvenience. However, if that fire engine or truck is going to your house because you called 911 and it breaks down en route to you, it's a disaster. In the end, this all boils down to what your life is worth and what your home is worth. We've all noticed our tax bill has gone up. I personally hate paying my property tax, but I also understand that it's the way we pay for essential services. The extra 80 cents a day that the average homeowner would pay is the price of living in this wonderful community. You've got a pie chart on your seats, and it's available on our website that shows the distribution of your taxes. The 14% we pay for emergency responses is simply not the place to skimp. And here's the good news. Today, King County Assessor announced that local Vashon property taxes have dropped by 12%. The net result of that is the projected cost to homeowners of restoring the fire district levy is reduced by 50%. If my family is confronted with a life-threatening situation, I want responders to get there as quickly as possible. I want them to have the people and the tools they need to save a family member's life or my home. We urge you to vote yes on Prop 1 on August 1st, and thank you for your attention tonight.
Thank you, guys, both very much. Thank you. I'm going to pull up your, okay. All right,
It's not currently sharing. but-
I'm not sharing, okay. There we go, thank you. Okay, go away. No, I'm not going to end the meeting. Okay, that's as big as I can get it, I'm afraid.
Thank you.
An extra minute.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me tonight. I support Vashon Island's fire and rescue, as I believe most people on the island do. While I supported the last levy lift, I do not support this one. That is because Vashon Fire and Rescue already is providing superior service. The numbers are clear. According to Vashon Fire and Rescue strategic plan, during the last 5 years, islanders who used Vashon Fire and Rescue services rated the services as excellent 77% of the time. 78% of the residents on this island indicated that a 911 response time of 5 to 15 minutes would be acceptable. 96% of the Vashon career fire responders indicated 5 to 15 minutes or more would be acceptable. Since Vashon's average response time is only 7 minutes, even when including simultaneous calls and trips to the south end, Vashon Fire and Rescue already is meeting or exceeding expectations. And this is before a 56% increase in career first responders next month, before the vote. As for simultaneous calls, they have occurred on Vashon for decades. Currently, Vashon Fire and Rescue is staffed to handle 2 simultaneous calls. With command staff and volunteers, it can handle 3. And next month, with 7 new recruits, as many as 4 will be possible. Homeowners insurance in Burton will not increase if the levy fails. The math is clear. Burton needs 2 career first responders. The station in town has been staffed for years with 3 career first responders. Next month, the staffing down in town will be 5 career first responders. According to the Vashon Fire and Rescue's 2023 budget, it will have over $1.8 million for facilities this year. Therefore, Vashon Fire and Rescue has the cash to provide temporary housing for 2 career first responders to immediately staff Burton, avoid an insurance rate increase, and reduce the response time to the south end with no need for levy funds, unless, of course, the Vashon Fire Board decides to punish the island for not supporting the levy. The Vashon Island fleet does not need a levy lift to continue to be up to date. According to Chief Vinci in the Beachcomber article and other levy lift supporters, Vashon Fire and Rescue needs to immediately replace as many as 5 emergency vehicles, which are approaching the end of their useful life. While Vashon Fire and Rescue does not have the cash to purchase five vehicles in 2023, it will have $1 million this year in its fleet reserve. If these vehicles need to be replaced, why are we delaying? When the Central Whidbey Island Fire Department needed to replace 3 vehicles, it voted a bond. With $600,000 as a down payment, leaving $481,000 in the fleet reserve, the annual payments for replacing these 5 vehicles would be approximately $250,000 if Vashon Fire and Rescue had applied to use the Vashon State Local Financing Program that was offering 2.55% loans just 4 months ago. Those payments would have been equal to the $250,000 Vashon Fire and Rescue plans to add to the fleet reserve this year. Again, no levy lift needed. The levy lift is not needed to maintain our 24-hour medical response. If you have a heart attack, serious chainsaw accident, or other life-threatening event and call 911 24 hours a day, the responder dispatched to provide your primary care is Medic 1 and its paramedics. not Vashon Fire and Rescue. Of course, Vashon Fire Rescue always be present to assist. With assistance from Life Flight and Medic One units off island, Medic One is available 100% of the time for those life-threatening events. Now, if you look at the graph above here, the number of calls do not support the need for an even greater levy. The incidence and calls have remained constant. The 8-year average, excluding the pandemic year, was 1,630 calls, same as 2022. As you can see, the EMS incidents during the last 4 years actually were less than the previous 4 years. While calls have been constant and inflation has been only 19% during the past 6 years, the levy has increased 129% during that period. We do not need an additional 68% increase over the next 6 years. Don't be afraid. Numbers don't lie. Vashon is good to go. Vote no on the levy lift.
Okay, I'll stop my sharing then. Okay. So now we've heard from the pro, vote yes and vote no on the levy lift. And now it's going to open up to people who would like to make comments. And yeah, who? Yeah, about this. Yeah. Okay, who was first? Were you first, Kim?
It's just a very quick question.
Okay.
I'm interested in the charts. Does that take into consideration the population change on the island as well? So I think we definitely have more people that have moved to the island in the last 4 years. So would the incidents be more with more people on the island as what you showed on the chart?
No, we'll have to come up here and talk. They can't hear you at home. So the question that Kim asked was about how does the graph relate to population change on the island?
The population during the last 4 years has increased, but the EMS onwards has decreased over the last 4 years when compared to the previous 4 years.
I'm looking at the blue projection, like that.
I'm sorry, I can put it back up to what she's talking about.
Correlate with a projection being potentially more calls because there's more people on the island. That's the question that I have.
Right.
The projection line going up for
The projection line, I'm sorry, the blue line up there, that's your levy. That's your levy. So therefore, basically the levy disconnected in 2017 went up, continued to go up, and then the dotted line goes on beyond that here. So the population onwards has increased from 90 onwards in the last 4 years. The population has increased by approximately 8%. Sorry, I didn't know your question. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've lived here about 20 years. And yeah, Vicky de Monterey Richoux. I've lived here about 20 years, and it seems like there were enough first responders when I first moved here, as little as I might have known then. And it seems like we need more paid full-time firefighter EMTs now, and I'm just wondering how those numbers look. What happened?
Okay, excellent. Can
you repeat the question?
Yeah, thanks, Vicky. The question is, 20 years ago, we seemed to have enough firefighters and responders, and now we seem to be asking for more money. What happened? I can tell you very briefly, 19 years ago, when I thought about moving to the island, I looked very closely at Vashon responders because I was coming from Seattle Fire Department, and I know exactly how many people it takes to do a response. So it's changed. And what has happened is 19 years ago, there was 3 firefighters on duty. Let's see if I do it this way. 3 firefighters on duty. There was 2 paramedics on duty. There was 2 people in an ambulance that were willing to take people off the island. And there was about 10 to 15 volunteers. So we had about 15 to 17 people doing responses. So what's changed? Now, the medics are no longer able to do firefighting, and they can't do EMT responses. So they are not helping us in the fires and EMT side. They do the medic response, but not that. We now have to spend 2 firefighters to take our patients off island to a hospital because the local ambulance service went away. So there's 2 more people we lost. And then when you start looking at the number of volunteers, when we had 15 or more before, now we have much smaller number. So now we're trying to manage a little bit more runs with a lot less people. So the levy is probably the only way at this time we can get enough money in the coffers to have enough responders to meet what we need. And it's extraordinarily critical to make sure we get people there quickly, because cardiac events don't wait 15 minutes for successful cardiac resuscitation, or even 7 or 8 minutes. So that's the nutshell. Does that answer your question?
Can you explain the difference between paramedic one and EMTs?
Yes, the medic ones are paramedics licensed under the state, and they are allowed to perform advanced emergency medicine, intubations, injections, administering medicines. The EMT, the emergency medical technicians, all the firefighters have that. I, as a firefighter, was not allowed to do injections at that time. We were not allowed to do intubations. So the medics are a much more highly trained individuals, and they're the ones that really perform the magic of resuscitating someone. That help?
Okay, thanks. I'm going to switch over to a question or comment from someone on Zoom now. So Nick Simmons, you have your hand up.
I do. Hi, Diane. I'm wondering if someone in the yes camp, or maybe Chief Vincey, can speak to Scott's statement about the ability to staff Burton without the levy lift. Because, you know, I was in the room with the Washington State Ratings Board. So that's the company that sets sort of fire risk rates for homes on Vashon. And it was pretty clear that houses in Burton and South, their property insurance was going to double for most people in this year if the Burton station wasn't staffed. And if it's possible to staff that station without the levy lift, I think it's a very different conversation for the folks who live south of Burton than if it isn't. I would love to hear a response if it's possible to staff that station without the levy lift.
Okay.
So Chief Vincey has stated pretty clearly that it's not possible to open the Burton station without the levy lift. And the issue is that you need 4 additional teams. That's 8. They take 48-hour shifts. That's 8 bodies, 8 additional spots. If you simply take the 4 firefighters that will exist after the new trainees start, and divide them between the station in town and the Burton station, you end up degrading the service to the north end of the island, where most of Vashon's population lives. The idea here is everybody's paying the same taxes. Let's get everybody the same high level of service. The Washington State Risk Board will be here this weekend, just across the street at the Farsi station from 10 to noon. So I encourage you to come to that meeting and ask your questions about fire risk for your particular area, and to learn more about exactly how this all works, because they've got the real skinny on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So maybe my question wasn't clear enough. I got the skinny. I think that if that station can't be staffed without the levy, then the levy is a no-brainer for anybody who lives in Burton or South Burton, because they're going to be paying more than that in insurance anyway. You know, I come from the water supply side. Doesn't matter if you have a hydrant in your yard if there's nobody to pump water out of it onto your house. So that's, I think the answer that I got is that station is not going to get staffed without the levy lift. So that's satisfying. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Okay. Who's next? Oh, Jake. Come on up, Jake. Ask your question.
Junior taxing districts on the island have a certain limit, or at least they used to, all conglomerated together. They can tax this much per thousand and all added up. Does this lift preclude another local island government group from either getting their same amount of money or getting any money, like the parks or you know, the other organizations?
Yeah, you're probably the best person to
Somebody left their phone.
Not mine.
Yeah, I can answer that. I don't have the exact dollar amounts with me, but the answer is it does not impact, I believe it's the $5.90 that junior taxing districts are allowed to tax. I believe right now, previous to the information that just came out about that assessments are now looking at like they're going to be down over 12% on the island in next year. It was a little over $1, like $1, still left over $1 in taxing in that 590 cap. So it does not impact any other junior taxing districts, and we are well below the statutory limit.
Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead. Whoops, 5 more minutes, okay.
Okay. During Scott's, Ron Smotherman, I'm with the S committee as well. During Mr. Harvey's comments, he said that 15 minutes plus response time was just fine with all the firefighters. That is false. That is patently false. And the reason for that is that during response times, many people on the island come to the fire station. That counts as a 0 response time over the years. And it's patently not true that those response times are adequate for the staffing of Vashon. And I just wanted to put that straight, that 15-minute response time is not adequate for this island. The department needs this levy, and I hope that you vote for it.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone on Zoom who would like to say something?
All I did is quote out of your strategic plan. So I said exactly what it said in the strategic plan that's on the fire district side. I did not create it. I did not make it up. And that's what it says in your strategic plan.
Okay, so that's, we don't have it here, so we can't look at it. So I'd like to know if there's anyone else on Zoom right now. And I would also like to know if there's anyone here for the proposing the no vote, because we've had a lot of yes votes. Is there anyone who would like to speak as well? So you think they will come on up? Great. If you'd,
You might if I turn around like this and speak to the audience.
we'll see if they can hear you. We'll see if we
Okay.
can do it.
Well, let's try it like this way.
And you're nice.
My name is Dr. Nurse and Dr. Steve Nurse. First of all, I think it's really important that I say that I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anybody else. I've lived on Vashon for 40 years, raised my family here, 2 girls. I've been an educator and worked with a variety of other community committees and from the Ferry Committee to, now I'm working with the Heritage Foundation to help them make that facility accessible. One of the things I probably should do is I park at the fire department over there or the Marcy, and there's no code wheelchair parking place over there. So I had to use my orange cone. But as a person of disability and a person that's lived on here, I've lived on the island for 40 years of residency. I know to many people who live on Vashon that 40 years of residency only makes me a newcomer. But I do feel I have some credibility. As a person with disability, I personally know that inequity, in addition to facing discrimination, financial inequity is too prevalent today. I oppose the levy lid increase because it reduces affordable housing and equity in the community. A big factor contributing to the lack of affordable housing on Vashon, there's no question it's property taxes. There's lots of needs, but that's the key. Many longtime residents have spent decades retiring their mortgage They continue to be crushed by property taxes that grow faster than their income. At the same time, the poor, who are disproportionately persons of color, the elderly, and persons with disabilities, see their rent increase as landlords pass these property taxes onto the renter. And I had a friend also, I do a lot of work with disabled vets. And most disabled vets right now that were in the Vietnam War are in the age range of probably 74 to 78. I personally know a person that lived four houses down from the station here that moved to Colorado because he was renting an upper room for $1,200. At the same time, the poor, who are disproportionately persons of color and elderly, pay these taxes. Thriftway, restaurants, and every business on Vashon passes on these increases. So we get the property tax increase, but we also get the increase from all the businesses. Why are restaurants closed on Vashon several days a week? Why did the Vashon Community Center close? Well, there are lots of reasons, but I think a major reason was that there were no workers who could afford to live on the island.
Dr. Norris, we're going to have to
Okay,
wrap it up.
I'll close her up.
Thank you.
While the levy lid may not significantly increase overall property taxes in its first year of implementation, it will have a major impact on the population already struggling to make ends meet. An annual expense increase of $400 to $500 a year is a big deal to some of these people. And this is only the first year with 6% allowable increases. The choice is clear. I think that Vashon, and we talk about affordable housing, should walk their talk and vote no for the levy lid, or you're going to turn your back on the elderly, poor, persons of disability, and people of color on the island. And if you want to look at income things, I've got all kinds of stats on that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have to.
I knew there are more comments in the chat too, but I just wanted to acknowledge them and leave it up to your discretion.
Okay, I want to see what time it is and where we're at.
Is this a junior path for the district and the Islanders? Is this a junior taxing district? Is there anyone who's?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, the answer is yes. And then the other question in the chat is, do you have an estimate how many Islanders have been trained CPR and AED? We have an answer.
Yeah.
You have a rough estimate?
Okay, here.
Yeah, I'll just repeat it for the people online.
We've had 2 classes that have been full, over a total of 70 have recently gone through CPR training. We have another one in July that's sold out at about 50 to max out.
And that's here on Island?
That's on that. It's a free CPR class that the fire department the fire district is offering to all that.
She said recently 70 people were trained and there's an upcoming class for 50 more.
3 more this fall.
And 3 more this fall.
Make your class 50.
We have about 113 staff at Camp Seal and all our trained CPR, so that's only for an 8-week period, so that's a small amount as well.
Medical Reserve Corps has 110 members, and it's probably 2/3 of those are CPR.
Okay. Okay.
A couple like Diane.
Yep.
Please come on.
Good evening. My name is Bridget Brown, and I've been an EMT volunteer with Vashon Fire collectively for just over 20 years. I am sometimes the only person at the station. I have responded as a woman alone to houses because there is no one else, because they are on 2 and 3 and sometimes more hour transports. I'm almost 70 years old and I'm tired. The number of zone callbacks that we have had at the station when there is no one else to respond continue to skyrocket. Without the levy, we will not have the staff you need to respond. You have not in this room or out there had the experience I have had of having an aid rig that is too old to be used break down underneath you while you're rushing to a call. Or be at a structure fire and watch a pump fail on a 25-year-old engine, and that pump has no parts that are available to fix it. I'm out there by myself. We have got to have this levy because we don't have the personnel. At least I'm out there trying to do something about it. I know I'm going to vote for this levy. Mike and I are retired and the taxes hurt a lot of us. But what hurts me even more is when I get to a call and I have to sit there and wait for an hour for an aid rig to arrive to take a patient to a hospital. Fires double in size every 10 minutes, and a brain without oxygen goes into permanent brain damage within 10. I'm out there doing it. You can help by voting yes on the levy. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you all very much for participating. We have to move on. Okay. All right. And now we're working on the committee and board updates. And is Morgan Brown here this evening to have a chat about the Affordable Housing Committee?
We just got an email from Morgan saying he had a family issue come up, so he couldn't make this meeting.
Okay, thank you. We'll just pass on that and we'll catch that next time around.
Okay.
Okay, Town Plan Committee update and vote on members.
All right. I'm David Vogel, and I'm the temporary chair or the interim chair of the Vashon Community Council, Vashon-Maury Community Council Town Plan Committee. Since its formation in 1976, at the request of County Executive John Spellman, the Vashon-Maury Community Council has assisted King County in planning and zoning Vashon Island. The 1984 Vashon Comprehensive Plan and the 94-96 Vashon Town Plan were developed by committees of the Community Council with the financial and technical assistance of King County. Extensive community involvement and cooperation with King County planners have led to widespread acceptance of these plans, and we now intend to initiate changes to the Vashon Town Plan. It's not going to be a similar fashion as we would like, because King County is moving at its own speed, its own plan, but we intend to participate as much as we can. The Vashon-Maury Community Council has recently established the Town Plan Committee to address changes needed to the 94-96 Vashon Town Plan to better enable affordable housing while retaining the rural character of the town of Vashon. These changes will be made by amending the special district overlay and P suffix conditions of the 2017 Vashon Sub-Area Plan during the ongoing 2024 King County Comprehensive Plan update process. We've been told by King County that they want our feedback by the middle of July, so we will have to move quickly. The Vashon-Maury Executive Board has adopted the following charter for the Town Plan Committee. The Town Plan of 1994 was developed by the Vashon-Maury Island Town Plan Committee with assistance from King County and was adopted in 1996 as a sub-area plan of the King County Comprehensive Plan. Although the VTP has largely achieved its intent to reinforce Vashon's traditional rural town character, as well as the 1986 Vashon Community Plan's goal of maintaining the town's rural character, the VTP has not been very successful in addressing the community's desire to provide more affordable housing and to enable people to walk to work. The purpose of the 2023 to 2024 VMCC Vashon Town Plan Committee is to work with King County to modify the VTP to enable more affordable housing while maintaining the town's rural character. These modifications are intended to be adopted as part of King County's 2024 Comprehensive Plan Update. In order to form a 12-person town plan committee that will appropriately represent the varied interests, disciplines, and needs of Vashon-Maury residents, we had circulated an application, and we received a very good response. I believe we had about 16 applications. Very recently, we've learned that a few of our applicants could not participate. Most recently, Allison Reed, who is also the executive director of Vashon Center for the Arts, just notified us that she will have to take her name out of consideration because she's pretty much swamped with her work for the Vashon Center for the Arts. But we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 applicants now for these 12 positions. And most of the applicants are here and can give a 1-minute presentation to essentially tell you why you should elect them to this committee. And there are a few people who couldn't make this, and I would like to just speak to the reasons that they would be appropriate members. So if we could start with
1 second, David. Can we?
Okay.
I'm going to pass out the ballots. I think this just goes for voting members. Is that right, Diane?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and raise your hand if you're a voting member, and that way people can take notes while you do the thing.
Good idea. Very good
Okay.
idea.
Oh, okay, great, great, thank you. Nick, I see your hand raised.
Are the folks on Zoom going to be able to vote as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have a poll all set up, but I can't run the poll while people are introducing themselves.
But if you want to take notes at home, please do that.
Yes, so that when the voting and the poll comes up, you know who it is you'd like to vote for.
I think it might be nice for the people who are present to be able to start as opposed to the people who couldn't make the meeting.
Oh,
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Or actually, no, I think we should go alphabetical because people have this list.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
I think it would be a good idea to just stick, because that's all the poll is going to be as well. So it's going to be, was that the first or the second person? See,
Okay, I just
Okay.
out of respect for the people who need the time to come.
I know, but we don't know why the others couldn't.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd like to do it alphabetically if you don't mind, David, just in order of from the
Okay.
list.
Fine, that sounds good. So then the first person on the list is Adrian Forrest. Adrian, are you present or on Zoom?
Neither, looks like.
Okay, well, then I would just say, in Adrian's application, she indicated that her occupation is retired and she's lived on Vashon since 1968 and cares very much about the future of our little island. Okay, the next applicant, Allison Reed, had to withdraw her application because she didn't feel she had enough time to devote to this committee. The next applicant would be Amy Dreyer. Is she present at the meeting?
He's right here.
Yeah.
Come on. up.
Okay, great. And we're going to try to limit this to 1 minute. Since we have fewer applicants, you know, we can be a little bit flexible, but I'd like to keep it to 1 minute if we can.
Absolutely, yeah. Hi, my name is Amy Dreyer. I am with the Vashon Chamber of Commerce. I'm the staff member that makes me the executive director there as well. I am highly personally invested. I'm an original Islander. I grew up here and graduated. I'm very invested in not only town, but affordable housing and who gets to live here and why, and making it a long-term better place for everyone in the community. with the Chamber of Commerce, I do a lot of work with businesses around town and retailers, and I have an open channel of dialogue with the folks in town. And so that's really what I think, outside of sort of the civil engineering policy side, I think communications. So even if, you feel like my participation on the committee isn't right, I would love to just keep the community conversation open and, be a channel of dialogue between businesses and the town plan and affordable housing. And affordable housing is also one of our priorities at the chamber, because it is absolutely true that our businesses, the lifeblood of our businesses is workers, and workers cannot afford to live on Vashon. So, yeah. Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you very much. And that was well timed. Okay. The next person would be myself. So I'll put the timer on. Okay. I'm an attorney. I moved to Vashon in 1984. And I also worked for the King County Prosecutor's Office, including the Environmental Health Division. I was president of the Vashon-Maury Island Community Council from 1986 to 93 and a board member from 85 to 2000. I left the island for health reasons for my ex-wife. And when I returned, I realized that the community council had ceased and did not reform. So I took it on myself to start a process to reform the community council, which we were able to do by 2020. And I was the president from 2020 to 2022 when the presidency was put into the able hands of Diane. And so I was the chair of the Town Plan Committee in 94, 96. And I would like to work on fixing the town plan so it can better provide for affordable housing and so that people can walk to work and on the island. Okay.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Who's next?
That would be Deborah Riley.
There's a poll also.
And for those online, there will be a poll. You can vote online if you're a voting member.
Hi, I'm Deborah Riley. I moved to Vashon in 1997. I raised my family here and had a successful architectural business designing residential and commercial projects until I retired 2 years ago. I was a founding board member of Wise Energy, for those who remember that, and my interests and passions remain focused on climate change and housing. Everyone deserves accessibility to affordable housing. I believe my background and experience in architecture, green building, and urban design uniquely qualify me for this committee. If I am nominated, I would use my skills to develop solutions to our island's housing problems. I would listen to the community's concerns and help navigate a path through the minefield of obstacles to a solution that would enrich us all. After all, community is the heartbeat of this island. I would be honored to do my part. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next person would be George Gay. Is George Gay present?
Okay,
George
there
Gay.
he is. Asked to unmute.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
I'm here. I've
Great.
been on the island since 1978, and I've been participating in some of the island programs related to the MRC, including education, and was part of the Shape Up Vashon program, which was to improve health in general on the island.
George, we're having a difficult time hearing you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, if you could be closer to your mic, I think it would help.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I moved to the island in 1978, and I participated in a number of island programs. One of them was Shape Up Vashon, and another was the MRC, which I still attend occasionally. My problem is I'm not here 5 months out of the year. So I don't know that I qualify. I'm a practicing, or I'm a retired cardiologist. That's what I can do right now.
Okay, anything else you wanted to mention,
That's all.
George?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I,
Thank you
I
very
don't-
much, George.
I don't think his part-time status would preclude him from being on this committee. Diane, what's your thought?
No, I don't think so either. We don't even require that people be members of the community council to be on this committee. And since most meetings are hybrid or Zoom, I don't think that would be a problem if someone is. But it's up to, that's my personal opinion. It's up to the people who are voting though, who decides.
Okay, I
So-
see a hand. Sharon Nelson has her hand up.
Yeah, David. So I think the only issue is you can be off island for 5 months, but are you available during those 5 months? So that would be my only comment, but otherwise I think the qualifications are superb.
Okay. Well, the next person who's up would be Jacob Midling. I don't know if he could attend it either. He had told me he might not be able to attend this meeting, in which case I wanted to just speak briefly to his qualifications. He's a full-time general contractor, a licensed real estate broker, and an active real estate investor. And he owns several properties on Vashon, commercial, industrial, and residential properties. One thing that's very important is Jacob is a primary owner of the K2 building, which could be an essential part of a town plan affordable housing project. So he could be instrumental in terms of making things happen. So I just wanted to say that about Jacob. Is Jim Garrison here now? I also talked to Jim Garrison earlier.
Hello, David.
Hey,
Oh, he's
Jim.
here.
Hello.
Hey. Yay. Okay.
Yep, I'm here. I can speak briefly. I've lived on Vashon most of my life. I participated in the 84 plan, the 94 and 96 plan. And I know a lot about the water resource on Vashon. I own Burton Water Company with my partner, Evan Simmons, and have followed all the water issues on Vashon. I've also been on the Vashon Groundwater Committee and have a really good understanding of the water issues that have basically plagued development on Vashon for years. And I have a very strong attachment to Vashon and its rural nature. So I'm very interested in protecting Vashon from unwanted development and directing it towards development that keeps us small and poor, I guess. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jim. The next person to speak would be John Osborne. Is John present or is he on Zoom? Oh, I think he's on Zoom there.
I'm on Zoom. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I've had a bit of an unstable internet connection here for the last few minutes, but hi, my name is John Osborne. I go by the nickname Oz. I've lived on the island since 1991, and we've raised our 2 daughters here. I'm a software engineer for NOAA studying ocean acidification. And I have served on many boards on the island. I'm a former school board director, and I've served on the Vashon Island Emergency Management Area Board, along with some private fundraising boards for education. My biggest qualification for being on this board, other than the fact that I have board experience, is that I actually live in downtown Vashon. And I think it would be nice to have that viewpoint represented, because we have lived in downtown Vashon for 12 years. We have seen the town change. We've seen it change for the better and for the worse. And I am very interested in getting more people to live here so that we can support island businesses better rather than there being so much turnover in island businesses in the central core. And again, I want to react to people who have a view of downtown Vashon that's not necessarily realistic when you come in just to shop, and that town is big enough. We don't need any more people in town. Let's close the gates. Well, as a town person, I would welcome more people here. And I've also documented for another committee of the community council the third world nature of our sidewalks and how those are going to prevent people who are aging in place, like my wife and I, from potentially getting around town. So I would like to work for first world sidewalks in downtown Vashon. And I don't think that has to destroy the rural character of the island like some people might claim. But having someone who lives here, I think, is my best qualification for serving on this committee.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the next person would be Kim Goforth.
Not in the room.
Oh, I would say that Kim Goforth is an architect. Oh, that's right. She couldn't make this meeting either. And she sat on the 2017 Town Planning Committee, and she has been asked by Vashon Household to represent Vashon Household. She's on the board. I believe she's the director of the board right now, or the president of the board of Vashon Household, which will be playing an instrumental role in our town planning. So Kim couldn't make this meeting, but she very much would like to be on this committee, and she's extremely well qualified. Kim Cambeck, is Kim here?
All right, Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim Cambeck, and I was born in Oregon and raised in Tacoma and moved back to the Pacific Northwest in 2018. My husband and I have the Littlest Bird Farm, an organic farm, and I have spent 30 years volunteering for planning commissions, and I was on the governor's task force on fish passage in Oregon. I believe that an island like ours is a beautiful resource, but unless we have vitality, which is young families and affordable housing, we're going to lose so much of what I treasure as a former school teacher. And the reason I do carbon sequestration in soil is to preserve something for those who come after me. So planning and resource management is really important to me. Mixed use development is something that I treasure. And having ADA accessible sidewalks and businesses matters a lot too. I'm on the board of the Heritage Museum. I'm the president of the Vashon Unitarians, and I'm in the Puyallup Working Group. So I'm invested in giving back. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next person would be Michelle Stearns. Is Michelle Stearns present at the meeting?
Not physically, not at the Land Trust.
Okay, is she on the Zoom meeting?
I'm looking. Nope, don't see her there either.
Well, then I'll just say what she has said about herself. She's retired. She's a pro bono advisor for 40 plus years, experience in community planning and development. She's lived on Vashon since 1988, built 2 homes and an office here. Both of her daughters, now 37 and 32, lived on Vashon until they graduated from high school. Okay, the next person is Morgan Brown, and he can't be here either. So I just would like to say a little bit. Morgan is the chair of our Affordable Housing Committee. He's participated significantly in the area of affordable housing. He indicates that he's very interested in being in the Town Plan Committee as a staunch housing advocate with a lot of experience in green planning, walkable, and to a good extent, permitting and community involvement. His statement is that, well, he owns a substantial piece of property in the town planning area that could be subject to use as affordable housing. So he's got a vested interest in this as well. Okay. And he's spent a long time studying the current town and town core plan. So he's convinced that the issues closest to his interests and expertise are likely to be dealt with. The next person on the list, Art, I see your hands raised.
Hi, yeah, thank you for recognizing me. I was just wondering, both Morgan, whom I like a lot, but he and another person here also said that, of course, Jacob Midland.
Right, right.
I wonder if they have a conflict of interest in being property owners of such, places that may benefit very well from whatever the town planning committee comes up with in working with King County. And I just think that it's something to take into consideration.
It's Art, I don't know that you would call it a conflict so much as they have an interest. And in many community planning ventures in all different sorts of communities, people are interested parties. There are business owners, there are property owners, and for that reason, they have a stake in the process and a more interest in it. So it's not so much a conflict of interest as it is an interest that needs to be recognized. Okay?
Sure. I just wonder how you determine when they cross the line in that situation.
Well, since it's a committee, it's not really crossing the line.
I'm not going to beleaguer this. I just wanted to make that opposite point. Thank you.
Okay, sure, Art. The next person on our list is Randall Colleen. Is Randall present? Oh, I see him on the Zoom. Okay.
I'm on Zoom, and can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
I just, my wife and I have been here now for 15 months, so we're the new kids on the block, but we love Vashon, and we're hoping to get more invested. I was formerly a real estate broker in California and also a mortgage broker. So I retired and was a chocolate maker. Maybe you've seen me at the Vashon Farmers Market selling chocolate and chai. But I've retired that career, and I'm trying to resurrect a mortgage career here. So I'm calling it Vashon Mortgage. You may have seen my sandwich sign in the north end of town. And I went yesterday to the meeting and talked with Morgan and Diane and volunteered for researching the affordable housing, the new laws that have passed on a county and a state level. And I heard and saw more light in the idea of helping homeowners here create ADU units on their property, which they can design into their own retirement homes using ADA and so forth, and then renting out their homes. I thought that was a fabulous idea, and that's kind of where my interest is being drawn. So I'm not sure I'm appropriate for this town core type planning, but I certainly am around, and I want to help people. And I think the ADU idea is going to suit me just fine. So glad to meet you all. And if you want to vote for me on this committee, that's fine. I'm happy to participate.
Thank you. I see Jean Thomas has hand raised.
Hi, it's actually Jean Marie Thomas, but thank you so much for calling on me. And can you just nod, David? You can hear me okay?
Yeah, can hear you fine.
Great. Well, I'm going to pitch in on this same kind of approach that Art was taking a minute ago. I really appreciate all you're doing so much. I have been an appointed planning commissioner in a municipality, and this is not the same as that, but there's a very, very high bar for integrity and lack of conflict of interest. And I would suggest that at a minimum, before there is a vote, and I'm really sorry to be the messenger on this, but I feel there should be policies established so that people will recuse themselves from voting and from weighing in when they have something personal to gain from actions that are taken. And I think that before they are done, should agree to those terms. And again, maybe a little unpopular. I just feel my own integrity requires me to speak up. I'm deeply appreciative, but I'm going to recuse myself from voting because I can't see 12 candidates who are clearly, I don't know how the math would work, since more than 2 have appeared to have at least a question about their conflict of interest.
Okay, and I think that's a very legitimate concern, Jean Marie. As I had indicated to Art, it's very legitimate. There's a difference, though, between a community, how would you say, committee that is giving advice to an elected body and being an elected official yourself. As an elected official, you have authority and you're wielding authority. As a committee to the community, you have only as much authority as you're perceived to have. And so the conflict of interest bar is, I would say, not as, it's not as strong a bar as it might otherwise be because of the lack of authority involved. It's more of an advisory committee than an actual ruling body.
And I'd like to just add to that. This committee is an advisory committee to the board of directors of the community council. This committee does not report directly to King County. It reports to the board. And any recommendations that this committee has goes to the board for review. And it's also a very important thing that advisory committees by our bylaws set a lot of their own rules. And so this idea of the conflict of interest thing, the committee will work on that and decide the details of how they want to handle that. We don't have to decide that now before we vote. That's my opinion on that.
Thank you, Diane.
Am I allowed to respond?
Sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate your opinions on that. You're constitutionally entitled to your points of view. I understand that this is advisory only, and I understand everything you've said, and I can't vote. And I do thank you. I'm not trying to be ungrateful. I just simply disagree about perceived and real conflicts and how they're handled. And I think they should be managed ahead of time and not during the process, so that the public knows that people are conscious of that and what actions they're going to take. So thank you. We appreciate you listening to me.
Okay, and I think one thing that you always see in all walks of life is that when you get information, you have to consider the source of the information. And if someone has an interest in a particular action, that's one of the pieces of information you really do need to weigh. We have one further applicant, and that would be Tanya Roberts. Is Tanya present?
Not in the room.
Is Tanya, I believe Tanya's on the Zoom. Tanya, I think you're muted.
Okay.
There you go. All right.
Oh, we need you to speak up.
Tanya, we're not able to hear you very well for some reason. Try, you're garbled. I don't know if it's your video. You might want to turn off your video and maybe you'll get better luck with speaking. Try that.
Can you hear me better?
Not much.
Okay, well, then, David, why don't you just read what I wrote?
Okay, I'll do that. Tanya is an economist, the head of Social Justice Committee for the Unitarian Fellowship on Vashon. And Tanya indicates, I want to create affordable housing for workers on Vashon on the bus routes. Follow the lead. Just a second. Follow the lead of the high school in conserving water and conserving heat and minimizing the impact on the climate. So that's Tanya's statement. And those are all the applicants that we have for the positions. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm going to run the poll. The poll, it's in 2 stages because Zoom only lets you have a certain number of people in a certain number of answers in a multi-choice question. So we have here ballot 1 for the Town Plan Committee, and I'm going to launch that poll. And you can go ahead, and it's anonymous. So feel free to vote for whoever you want. You are not required to vote for all 12. You can vote for everybody on this list if you want. The 12 people with the highest number of votes will be on the committee to begin with.
And I would indicate that Allison Reed should not be voted for. She's withdrawn her application.
Sorry, I can't raise my hand with the ballot open. I have a question. There appear to be only 8 candidates here.
That's because there are 2 ballots. You're going to get this ballot, and then there's a second ballot that I'll
Okay.
be running a second poll because I had to split it up because Zoom wouldn't allow me to put them all on one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The second ballot will have, let's see, how many are in the first ballot here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The second ballot will have 7 names. Okay. Is there anyone who would like more time? If there is, raise your hand and we'll give you more time.
Do we have the second ballot yet?
I have to end this one and I'll do the second one.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry.
But I just need to know if people need more time on this one. It doesn't look like they do. So I'm going to end this poll, which is the first ballot, and share the results. And then I'm going to go to the next poll. We can only do one at a time. I can only share this. So I need to give the numbers to the tally people. Adrian Forrest has 10. Allison Halstead Reed, she dropped out, had 3. Amy Dreyer has 21. David Vogel has 26. Deborah Riley has 20. George Gay has 9. Jacob Midling has 11. And Jim Garrison has 19. So that's that. I'll have to stop sharing. And now I can go back to the second ballot. And I'm going to launch the second ballot with the rest of the names on it. And you should be able to vote on this ballot. Yes,
They know they voted for the first ballot.
yes,
We told them how many people voted for what, now you're on the second ballot.
yes,
And they're voting.
yes.
Okay,
People can vote for as many as they want.
I understand that. But why did they get to see who was voting on the first ballot? When they went to go vote on the second.
I think that was the only way I could do it with Zoom, to get rid of the first ballot and share it. I was afraid of losing the results if I do it that way. I'm not familiar enough with the polling to know. I would hate to lose that's what happened. Yeah.
In the future, you can access it.
Can I?
Yeah.
I was concerned.
No, I totally understand. I just-
Because I lost all the results.
I just go on.
Thank you.
So I always have to go back.
Excuse me,
Okay.
we can't hear what the conversation is that's going on there, and it sounds as though it's something that should be shared with the rest of us. This is
The
Virginia.
comment was that the question was a concern about the people, everybody getting to see the results of the first ballot before the second ballot was put up. That's all. Okay, so does anyone, Art, do you need more time? Your hand is up.
No, I just have a question about the results, so I will wait till you finish. with everyone.
Okay, all right, very good. So is there anyone who needs more time? Otherwise, I'll end the poll.
I'm still challenging, but.
Okay. What's your question? Okay, all right, so I'm going to end the poll. And I'll share the results. And did you write them down over there?
Yes.
Okay, from the first one.
She missed the second page of the first poll. We didn't have a second page of the first poll. We had two polls. So I think we're going to go with what we have. Okay. So we are tallying up the votes from, combining the votes from the people here at the Land Trust and the Zoom. Do you have a question? We can answer your question now, Art, if you have.
Yes, thank you. So what is the bar for being elected to this post? I noticed a number of candidates had fairly low voter support, and
Top 12, Art. No minimum.
I'm sorry, what? There's no minimum.
There's no minimum. The top 12 people with a number of votes.
Okay. 12 out of 14. It just seems to me that somebody who is, running and only has, 32% or could end up being chosen.
Yes, they could be.
I resemble that remark, Art.
I forget.
Yes, it always helps to get more people to apply for things. So we work with who we have. We work with the volunteers that show up. And that's the life of a nonprofit organization that doesn't have staff. In order to run the organization, we take people on who want to help. Comment from the gallery said, I thought the pay started at 100,000. Okay. Yeah, there you go, 100,000 karma points. So while we're here waiting for the results, I think maybe we will give a little time here and have Jake have Jake give us an update on the Transportation Committee. Have you gotten any other people to join you? Come on up, please.
Oh, and when we do have the results, Diane, I would like to see how many of the people elected would like to participate in a first meeting this coming Monday, the 19th, say 7 o'clock, a Zoom meeting.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that when we return.
Okay.
Okay, the community council created a transportation committee and fingered me to be the interim chair, spending 37 years at King County DOT. I know all about that stuff. And it's not just the, let's say, not just the roads, it's also pedestrian pathways. I was a traffic engineer while I was there and amongst other jobs. And so some of that relates perhaps to what the town plan committee is doing. I'm glad to assist you folks whenever you'd like. And it's also about the water taxi. It's about the metro bus schedule. It's about DART, all sorts of mobility. King County says that mobility is a right, and I agree with them. And we should treat it that way. So, and I've got Bong. I'm having a hard time setting up the meeting. Things have been hectic at King County local services, but Bong is going to help me. Santo Domingo, we go way back, and help me set up a meeting with John Taylor because he hasn't been here the last 3 months, or I would have embraced him then. I want to lay the groundwork with him and his division director and his manager and the superintendent on the island to know that what is planned is to address more global type concerns. It's not about Joe Blow not doing this or that. It's more about getting us more resources, maybe getting the crew here, more employees. There's lots of deferred maintenance that's not happening. And I know they have financial problems, but we can still be, like always, the mouse that roared and make things happen. Like when the community council rented a ferry boat and went down to Olympia to get more funding. So that's what's going on. And if anybody's interested in being on the transportation committee, please either call me or email me, text me. And my email is Vashon1, all spelled out, and it's on the community council website, but VASHONONE at AOL.com. Yeah, I'm an oldie. And my phone number is 650 Jake 650-5253. Give me a call. All right. Thank you.
Jake, if you could promise that we'd actually take a ferry to Olympia, I think you get a lot of people joining your committee. Thank you very much. How are we doing? You ready for some results? We have our 12. Would you please come over and read the list for us?
Sure. Okay, so we took in-house votes here at Land Trust. We also did Zoom poll, combined the two. There were 2 sets of eyes on it. Thank you for helping with that. So our 12 with the most votes, I'm going to go alphabetically. These are people who were voted in with the most votes. That's going to be Amy, David, Deborah. Sorry, I abbreviated these. Amy, David, Deborah, Jacob, James, John, Kim G, Kim K, Michelle, Morgan, Randall, and Tanya. Our 2 alternates that did not have the highest votes will be Adrian and George.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much for all of this. Everybody doing the votes. Congratulations, committee. David Vogel is the interim chair, and you will vote on who the chair of this committee will be after a couple of meetings. So David, next steps for this committee?
Yes, what I'd like to do is,
Excuse me, could you please repeat the poll results with full names of the people, not just their first names? It would be more inclusive if we knew exactly who had been elected with their full names.
It's in the chat. I can read it off the chat. Let me find the chat. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's, right. The most recent, okay, Amy Dreyer, David Vogel, Deborah Riley, Jacob Midling, James Garrison, John Osborne, Kim Goforth, Kim Kambach, Michelle Ruth Stearns, Morgan Brown, Randall Collin, and Tanya Roberts. Okay. All right, David.
Yes, I would like to have the first meeting set for June 19th at 7 o'clock. And I can send out an email with the Zoom link to everyone who can participate. So if anyone can't participate, please let me know at this time.
It does. I was just going to say. So David, that night is a joint community council and Chamber of Commerce event for.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That
it'd be a
wouldn't be
better.
good. How about
Yeah, if you could
Tuesday,
pick
the,
another night, that would be really
how about
helpful.
Tuesday, the 20th?
I don't have any conflicts with that. I think that would be better though. Yeah. So,
Okay. Well,
7
then
p.m.
I'll send out invitations for a 7 p.m. Town Plan Committee Zoom meeting on the 20th. Okay.
Okay. Very
Well,
good.
thank you very much. And thank you to all who participated in this.
All right. It'll be very, very timely. And the reason that we did it this way, rather than having King County select people for us, we're a democracy. We want to be as democratic as possible. So that means that we in the community get to pick who we want working on the plan for us. That's why we're doing it this way. Okay, next on the agenda is the Strawberry Festival Committee. John, would you like to move this over so you can?
What do you want to know?
You can give us an update, what's happening in the Strawberry Festival.
Okay, for Strawberry Festival. As per the items that we identified to purchase for our booth, we have the booth, the 2 tables, the 4 chairs. I ordered 150 recycled bags for purchase / donation. So far of the $1,000 that we were given through the county grant, we've spent $886.98. That leaves us about $113 left for any kind of printing we want to do that will be covered in that grant. So it's the way the county grant works, I found out a couple weeks ago, is that we have to purchase all the goods, get the receipts, send the receipts in, and then they'll send us our reimbursement money. So as soon as the printing part of it can be taken care of, and then you get that, save that receipt and get it to me, we can wrap that up and send it off. We've secured a spot for the booth next to the pub. I just talked with Mika 2 days ago, and she's acknowledged that we are having some having to clear up some health department issues with permitting. But the last time I talked to her, she said that that would all be worked out. She's talking with them now. I think that's it. Any questions?
I was on Amy and I got your email this afternoon and did not have a chance to get back to you, but yes.
Please, no one can hear you.
Hello. Hey, this is Amy at the Chamber and we do Strawberry Festival. And John, I did get your email this afternoon and all set. You guys, whatever you arrange with Mika, we'll work around that. But I did want to let you know that that Rotary is also doing strawberry shortcake just down the street at Pandora's Box. So Okay, we'll have a strawberry shortcake off. I just wanted to, yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. And our goal is always more strawberries. So yes, always more strawberries. So yeah, but yeah, you guys are set. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do you know, I know you said Amika's gonna get back to us about permitting. Do we have a timeline for that? Because I know we're coming up on
Yeah.
a month or so till.
And costs.
Yeah. I'm gonna be talking with her actually tomorrow to pick up the signed contracts for the agreement that we've made with her. So she's aware of that from our conversation of 2 days ago. So I should be getting some answers on that particular issue, and I'll send that out. Let's see, there's one more thing. Oh, the strawberry booth itself, we've identified a spot. And this goes to our,
I'm not sure everybody needs to hear this much detail about our committee work. I don't know. It's it's not a committee report. I mean, just, anyway.
okay. Anyway, this leads into the idea of volunteering.
Yes, please.
So,
Thanks for the work.
okay, so that's where I'm going. So if you're interested in volunteering for the booth, we have a website that you can go to. We're going to be sending that out to all the members. But it's an awesome spot. It's going to be right next to the stage. You'll be able to sit there and enjoy the community, plus have all that music right next to you. And I remember years ago, David and I actually did the snow cone booth next to the stage, and it was a great place to spend a couple hours. So it's a great spot for anyone who wants to put in a couple hours and volunteer. And that will be sent out soon.
As soon as you want it sent out, as soon as you're ready with the board,
Tonight.
the board has the board signed on.
We have had some signups so far. I checked yesterday and it looks like we've got about 3 or 4 more board slots. And only a couple of volunteer slots. So there's plenty of volunteer slots for anyone who wants to come and fiddle around with the community and also just enjoy the festivities.
Great, fabulous. So as soon as, I think it would be a good idea to send that out once we're absolutely confirmed that we're going to be doing strawberry shortcakes. And then get the volunteers to come to do that. So we'll stay posted. Okay. Now we have under new business, King County Council Candidates Night will be June 19th, Monday, June 19th. And it's going to be at the Presbyterian Church. And I don't have my timing on that.
It'll be 5:30 to
5:30 to 7:30. And could you come on up and talk a little bit about this one? I'll be running some technical stuff.
Hi, so there is a race for King County Council District 8. McDermott is not running again for re-election or termed out. And so we have 2 new candidates, Sophia Aragon and Teresa Mosqueda. And they are also, there's also goodspaceguy.com who is running against them. So there will be a primary in August, and this is for the November general election. So the Chamber of Commerce and the Community Council have teamed up to have a candidate forum at the Presbyterian Church with the 2 candidates. Good Space Guy did not respond to calls or emails. And it'll be 5:30 to 7:30. The format will be introductory statements from the candidates and then questions from moderators representing the chamber and the community council. And then we will have time for audience questions to the candidates alternating. And then we will have time for candidates questions to the audience at the kind of the last piece of it. And it is 5:30 to 7:30 at the Presbyterian Church, Monday night, June 19th, and it will be in person and online.
Yes, so there is a Zoom link to attend by online at our website, at the Community Council website, v-mcc.org, if you'd like to attend that way. Okay.
Exciting.
There's so much happening. Okay. Now, we have under old business, a discussion and votes on in lieu fees. The following resolution was approved by the Affordable Housing Committee and the Board of Directors, which says the Vashon-Maury Community Council has grave concerns and opposes in lieu fees for development on Vashon-Maury Island. This was moved and seconded at the last meeting. And we are opening it up for more discussion and a vote on this. So I was wondering if Art Chippendale is here tonight. He was, Art. No longer here. Okay. So, and Morgan can't make it either. So I will share with you my understanding of why the in lieu fees are not a good idea for the island. Basically, it allows developers to have market rate housing and get the perks that King County offers for including affordable housing without including the affordable housing if they just give King County some money. So then they would be able to have the advantages that King County offers and then have their units be totally market rate, no affordable housing at all in their buildings, in their apartment or condo buildings that they would build. And it was the opinion of the committee and the board that this money that's then given to King County may not make it back to actually help our community. It's unclear exactly where that money, how that money would be used, and if it would be enough money to do much at all for affordable housing on the island. And that's why it's been proposed and we're proposing it. And this is forward as a message to send to King County about this concept of in lieu fees. So I'd open it up for questions and comments if anyone would like to say anything about this. Come on up, Jake.
This community council and this community has been pushing for affordable housing for the last 47 years I've been here. And they haven't come up with anything. And if this is what they come up with, shame on them. And I am in total agreement with President Emerson.
Thank you, Jake. Terry. You're muted, Terry.
Yeah, I would say one of the factors with the in lieu fee situation is that available property on Vashon is limited. It's kind of a zero-sum game. So we can't afford to have somebody come in and say, well, they might do some affordable housing and then not do it and use up some available space that we need to have for affordable housing. So I don't think, if you're in the city somewhere, you might be able to, say, okay, we won't have some here, but we'll get some more over here. But we don't have that luxury out here.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you very much. Anyone else? If not, I will go ahead and I believe I set up another poll for this. Vote on in lieu fees. Okay. So I'm going to launch. Okay, did I launch it already? I guess, let's see if I can ended poll. Okay. It's not letting me launch it. I think I must have some kind of limit on it. So we'll do it just with a show of hands. Okay. All those in favor of voting for this resolution. And here, let me just word it correctly because when I was doing the poll.
I'll also paste the language into the chat.
Okay. So we're going to have it do two ways: oppose in lieu fees or support in lieu fees. So all those who would oppose in lieu fees, please raise your hand. And it's and can you see online?
Yes.
Okay.
13, 14, 15, 16. So it's going up. 18 proposed in lieu fees.
Okay.
All
All those who support in lieu fees, please raise your hand. Well, first, everybody else put your hand down, okay? Sorry. I have to make sure we do that with our Zoom call. Reset, yes. All those who support in lieu fees, raise your hand. Just as I suspected. Okay. Unanimous, incredible, wonderful. We are all in agreement on this kind of thing. Very good. So next steps are corresponding secretary will send this information to King County formally, so they know where we stand on this issue. Okay, now an easy vote. We have our next topic is a discussion and vote on the change of time for our board meetings. Kim Roser had moved the following change to the meeting time for the board. With full board support, I move to change the meeting time of the Board of Directors to 7 p.m. and update the standing rules accordingly. That makes our board meetings and our community meetings run the same time every month. So is there any questions or discussion on this before we vote? No? Okay. All those in favor of changing the time of the Board of Directors meeting, raise your hand.
Every board member throws their hand up.
Okay, take your hands down, please. All those opposed to this change in the time for the board meetings? No. Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. That was easy. Okay, and here we are right on time. Oh my gosh. Are there any community updates from anyone? Very, very brief. We have a couple of minutes if anyone wants to give a community update on things that haven't been covered yet. No?
I have a question.
Yes.
This is open discussion and community update.
Well, it's community updates right now. We're going to get into
Okay.
open.
All right, go. I'm not sure.
Well, we have no community updates, so now we're into open discussion. Anything's available.
I noticed
Could
there
you-
was some, I noticed there was some, conversation going on around First Fridays and the ability to continue those. So I don't know if anybody, it sounded like that was quite lively, and I don't know what the real story is. Does anybody know what the background is? And what? Amy's laughing.
Amy,
Okay.
So we applied for a permit for the First Friday closure, which was granted. And in recent years, the county has deployed county roads crew on their own time has deployed signage for us. And this is, I'm condensing a very long story of 2 weeks of information into a chronology. Just so so they have been deploying that for us at the intersections where we needed to put up signage, and then volunteers would staff those signage. So the week of the First Friday, the Wednesday, we did hear from roads that they weren't able to support us by deploying or providing that signage any longer. And so a county roads employee very graciously, on his own time, which is an important point, was able to lend us and deploy that signage, but that was a one and done deal. So I worked with staff at King County, and we negotiated an opportunity for the chamber to borrow signage again for Strawberry Festival, which we would pick up, deploy, staff, and return at the end of festival. And that was the consideration that they made for us just for festival with a short timeline. But from here on out, for closures, we will need to purchase our own signage on Vashon and hold our own signage. And that is the reason I was given is because of state regulatory, that regulatory agencies, the state kind of does not allow that kind of use of roads materials. So First Friday will be going forward. We're going to change the closure to 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. From Bank Road to the theater. And that will allow it. That's obviously a very easy detour, right? So that's what we're going to do this year. We still are inviting non-town people to come to town to have space. And so we're going to work with vendors to see how we might share space within the closure. But it was very popular and we really want to do it again. And I think folks really loved it. So we're just going to go with that condensed closure and then have some future problem solving with roads to do, but we'll do it. Is that, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, yes. It was an evolving situation, and I think we've reached the end of our evolutions now, and we have a path forward.
So Amy, it sounds like the county's not going to really be involved. Your traffic plan, is that provided by a licensed engineer?
No, so the county is not able to provide a traffic plan. We have always provided the traffic plan to the county. Yes, and they stamp it. We are going to use the plan that we have always used. So we're not going to, for Strawberry Festival, we're using the plan that we have always used. Yeah.
Caution, you look into it. You need to have a stamp plan in case there's an accident or something like that.
Yeah, we're in a brave new world of traffic control, but for sure. But we really want to keep doing the first Fridays because we know they're popular. So we're just going to condense it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Jen, we do have a question online about, does anyone know whether the water taxi is going to be running again during Strawberry Fest this year? Anyone know anything about that? Do you know? Amy seems to know everything. Water, do we get water taxi?
Water taxi, yes, the water taxi, the Metro called and did ask. It was awesome. They reached out to us proactively to ask if we wanted additional water taxi service. And I said, that would be fantastic. One of the hurdles that we have is that there's no transportation from the dock to town. We obviously have our Metro buses, but that, doesn't always sync up. And so I asked him, and I apologize, I forget his name right now. But I asked if he would kind of maybe look at syncing with Metro a little bit when the water taxis would arrive to when the buses would arrive. He's going to look at that. And then we're going to see if maybe, I don't think we have the budget this year to rent any kind of like bus or anything, bus service. I think there's a couple of folks who might have driven, but I don't know yet. If anyone has access to a vehicle with, probably 20 passenger plus capacity, that would be, because, he did say the ridership on the water taxis was around 40 people per load. And so the community vans that hold like 12 people, that's not really viable. But yes, they have reached out to us about water taxi during Strawberry Festival.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There are school buses on the island that we living in, so.
Right?
Okay, anything else that anyone would like to raise up? Any questions, issues, concerns, suggestions for the community council? People wanting to join the board?
Sharon's got a question.
Sharon. I didn't see her.
It's just kind of back to Amy on the water taxis. I mean, if the service continues over that weekend, are there any adjustments on the water taxi side schedule? Assuming the bus schedule stays the same, or would they have, because the morning schedules are really like early and the bus schedule doesn't start till 10 a.m. So I was
So you're
curious.
talking about Friday because the water taxi doesn't run on weekends anyway.
Well, yeah, so I thought the extended, I misinterpret that again. I'm sorry, but yeah, then, okay. Well, so yes, the water taxi always runs on a Friday. So I understood the water taxi, maybe there was consideration for the weekend. So,
Yes, there is, but you were talking about it, the regular schedule. I guess I don't understand. Could you ask it again, perhaps? I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
I think the question is, when is it gonna run if it runs on the weekend?
Yeah, when exactly is it gonna
Yeah,
run?
And I think that's what I'll just,
Amy.
I think that's what Amy's saying is there's discussion of trying to sync it up with the metro schedule.
She's gonna, yeah, Amy's gonna work on for Saturday, trying to get the foot ferry schedule to sync up with the bus schedule.
yeah, because
Yes,
Friday.
that would be ideal.
Okay, all right, I'm good.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Okay, anybody else? We have 5 minutes. It's your chance. You've been waiting. Okay, I guess we get to end the meeting early, and this is great. So now next month, the Seattle Indian Health Board will be joining us. And we are giving a full hour of our meeting for that meeting. A half-hour presentation from the Seattle Indian Health Board about the treatment center that will be opening up on our island, and half an hour for the community to ask questions and have comments. So please come. This should be a very, very interesting meeting.
I have one question before we adjourn.
Sure, go ahead.
Is there any tech genius here that knows of a simple way, if the board is willing, to have a mic, standalone mic there on the stand so that people don't have to play the chair game, and have a Bluetooth through the speaking system or something of that nature that doesn't cost $500,000? Because I'm willing to buy it. So anybody knows Osborne or somebody else, let me know. You know, you can just Bluetooth to the computer and away it goes. I know a lot of people complain about. things
Yes,
not
it would
like
be
that.
ideal to have a way for us to have a floating microphone in the Land Trust building for our hybrid meetings. And if anyone's willing to look into the technology aspect of that and tying in with what the system we have here now, that would be a great benefit to everybody. So please let us know if you are willing to do it or look into it or find someone who can. Because we'll do that if we can. I'm sorry, what?
I think I have somebody.
Oh, cool, good. So don't go away, make sure we talk. All right. Well, meeting's adjourned. We'll see you next month. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank
You could be.
It's not even-